So here's what I did, Ivan, Kathy, and Phil, okay? I showed your video to the people here because I'm teaching them too, right? Okay, so, and I asked them if you had to correct or you would want to work from here, from A, what would A be, okay, to move these people forward? And they ended up listing things we've already listed before. So your arms are being used, okay? And you don't want to do that in this drill. Your elbows don't go in and out in this drill, okay? And see other videos for that. They also listed that torso segmentation, which we had with Rio and Margaret, the video for Rio and Margaret, okay? And the problem with that is it leads to energy leakage. So this is very, very common in modern Aikido, I think, for any number of reasons, but things, especially around the kwa, are lack structural integrity. So you kind of roll around the kwa this way, or if you in yote dori, you kind of come roll over the top of the kwa. You can't hold this structure, okay? So they caught that. But I didn't think that those are the main problems. I thought that those are effects from the main problem, okay? And eventually they got on it. I didn't give it to them. They gave it to me, but in teaching them, we had to kind of pull it out a little bit. But on their own, they spotted that you guys are using a bracing angle, okay? And I asked them what's wrong with the bracing angle, and I'll have to sum this up a little quickly. And it is that the point of the drill is, can you take the gross yang aspect of a horizontal energy and send it vertically down into the ground? That's the whole point of the drill, okay? The point of the drill is not projecting uke, it's not positional integrity at all costs, okay? So the bracing angle is not correct because the bracing angle takes the horizontal force of uke and then brings it to at a diagonal down. And what we want is the horizontal force of uke to go straight down. That is the whole point of the cultivation set, okay? Going back to the talk on solo training versus pair training, when you do solo training, it's that whole thing. Your whole body weight goes down. Your yang aspect of your person is going down your spine, okay? As I told you in pair training, it's a working with gross forces. So with the gross forces here, the uke is pushing horizontally, and the gross effect should be that it keeps pushing you forward or pushing you backwards, okay? You get pushed over. But if you can do the drill, you can make that energy go down. And because we're working with gross forces, if you cannot do it, it's obvious because you got pushed over. Do you see? The force kept going this way. And here, the force is great enough, and the contrast of what's incorrect is great enough that there's no lying to yourself whether the energy is going down or not, as opposed to in the solo drill, where there's people all over the world right now who are like standing and thinking it's going down. It's not going down, okay? It's not. So it's not the drill, and hence no changes in consciousness. It just stays the ego tripartite mind, okay? So there's also a few other reasons that I mentioned very quickly. So that is the point of the drill. Take a gross sagittal force and make it go down at 90 degrees. Beyond the drill, that's your 90-degree fluctuation that is at the heart of all non-contestation. So anytime you take even an angle off the line of attack to the right at 90 degrees, it is preceded by contact and energy going down. It's preceded by an internal non-contestation, an internal 90-degree fluctuation to that force line, okay? That's important because you can do things outside of whether I change my consciousness or not, concentrically. I can do things when I take the sagittal force and make it a vertical force, okay? One, you get the rebounding energy off the ground that you don't get here. You don't get that here. Whatever rebound you get is much, much more reduced because energy is slipping out this way. Okay, so this is why you guys have to use your arms to get some energy going, because there's no energy due to this diagonal that you're taking with the back leg. And also, as you guys were doing the walking drill, you got pinned. That walking drill is you just walking. That's the walking drill. I wish you would have done the last drill so we could see what's going on here, but the fact that the walking drill changed from what it was supposed to be, and you were going bracing angle to bracing angle instead of walking, because walking requires the vertical grounding, because you're going to get caught on one foot without the diagonal. I wish you would have done the last drill because it stops things, and you do have to be without the diagonal, okay? But that's why in your walking drill, as you adopt this one, you get pinned, you have to stop. You can't actually keep walking, okay? So let's define, because I know from training a lot of people, as I tell you, put your weight on the back foot, you're like, it is on the back foot. Like you feel it's on the back foot. I could say, bend your knee to the yang line, and you're like, I am, but you're not on a single vertical line. So we know, for example, that I'm supposed to take this sagittal energy and put it on the back midfoot, okay? Well, I'm supposed to take that sagittal energy plus my energy and drop it on that back midfoot. That means my line of gravity is on the midfoot. I don't want my line of gravity in between my 2 feet. That's going to give you this bracing angle, okay? So whether you're with one hand or two hands, you're standing like this, whether the foot is down on the ground or not. There's no weight on that foot. Okay? You're on one foot. Just your foot is there on the ground. So, for example, you start here and you move that sagittal energy onto that single vertical midfoot line. That's where my line of gravity is. Then I move, push into that. And don't start here. Go a little and push a little. Or go here and move my arms a lot. It's just on that foot. This drill where you do the boat rowing exercise is to keep that quad integrity. So I'm here. I move forward without this stuff, without this stuff, without this stuff. Just move forward. And that's the end of that drill, okay? So to give you something concrete, make sure your line of gravity is over that midfoot. That it's not in between your 2 feet at all. Otherwise, you're going to get the bracing angle. I think if you get that, you can start working on this, okay? So when you guys start and you do the second drill without the boat, you should be able to be here. This is where I would go. I would go back to this drill as opposed to here, starting like that. You come back to here. This is where you're at. And then you release all my energy, all his energy, going down, making this more heavy, okay? And you go on the other side. Come back, settle everything. There's nothing on this foot. And he's pushing, and it's just making that foot way heavier, way heavier. Of course, for Phil, you don't want that tension in there. So as you're doing it, like I said in the other videos, you have to release it. You're gonna feel the tension, and you just release it. You keep releasing it. Keep releasing it. And that drill is much, much closer to what you ultimately want than the other ones where we have a bracing angle and we're pushing. Okay, you got to keep going as I'm talking. Hold the rotational integrity. You're kind of coming to your left counterclockwise. Hold that whole form and the placement of the quad. And now you also have the spillover backwards. Come over the top of the quad, but stay on the midfoot.
Hey.
Same thing, it's kind of going to your right.
Hey.
Hold that. Drop the chin a little because the crown of the head is the top.
Hey.
And then you got to get over that back midfoot. You're kind of forward of it. Like I said, a lot, you'll tell people, put your weight on the back foot, and they're like this. They feel it, that you go more, and they'll go like that. Their weight is over here, okay? So, I'm on the back foot, okay? So he's driving, all that's going down, and I'm just gonna move my foot back there, forward, just slide it. And it's a little easier than staying in one place, okay? With maybe even a little harder because your weight is shifting, you see? As you move your weight here, your weight shifted backwards, okay? So you have to keep it dynamically on that back midfoot. Okay, let's try it because I think what's gonna happen is it's gonna reveal that quad lack of integrity, okay?
Hi.
All right, let's try it. Good. Good. Yeah, you see the shoulders coming up.
Hey.
So if you were to look at Taylor's quad torso, it doesn't move, okay?
Hey.
But to me, it's already visible. I'm trying to make it visible to you,
Hey.
okay? So let's stay there, I'll show you what I mean. Drive up into his shoulder, Taylor, to displace. Do you see? Okay, so, because that shoulder was already disconnected, okay? Now, if you go and you do the drill, and you'll see how that shoulder, do you see? That shoulder wants to go, okay? So that is something you guys rightly defined. Their torso qua does not have integrity, structural integrity. It's leaking energy, okay? All right, keep going. So this is a kind of side note. So again, this is a beginner drill. This is a beginner set with its main goal is to make the gravitational aspect, or the yang aspect, the heaven aspect, so gross that we can tell whether it's dropping or not dropping. That is what we're doing, okay? So relaxation is key to this, but you have to be careful by what we mean by relaxation. So that's why I adopt the word release, okay? So if he is squeezing me, you see, and I relax, I will lose my positional integrity, okay? So what you're doing instead is he's trying to grab that. He's trying to squeeze it. I don't know if you want to get close or not. He's trying to squeeze it. And inside his grip, I find the release so that I can keep the hand shape without having to bring tension into it, okay? So this is a kind of pressure, do you see? And the usual reaction to pressure is to cave into it, especially if you're told to release or relax, or to fight it, but instead, I use his pressure to find where I can release in there. Where do I keep Laogong with it being relaxed? Do you see? Inside. Well, that is no different than he's pushing, and I feel this here. I keep myself in katate, but I release that shoulder. I don't have to release it by doing this stuff, and I don't have to keep it by doing this stuff. Inside where it is, I release the tension. Okay? And the same thing is happening at all those leakage points, as opposed to releasing, relaxing, right? And then I get the leakage point, or I have to overly tense and to keep the structural integrity. I don't have to, okay? And this is kind of a microcosm for life. So life's gonna push on you, do you see? And are you going to, or find the freedom in there? It's no different than Zazen. Zazen is very restricting. Or can you find the freedom in there, right? And that's what we're trying to do. And this is why I keep stressing that you're not preoccupied with sending them flying, especially at the cost of no longer doing the drill. Meaning you're no longer taking a gross sagittal force and making it go vertically down into a single point with your mass. Do you see that? Because you're going to start doing all this other weird stuff. I would rather that you're here, you keep the shape, and you release the tension. Okay, you release the tension. Now, there's some, again, you will subjectively know. I think that is still gross enough, whether you feel tension or whether you feel a muscle let go. I think it's gross enough that you can't lie about it, okay? But there are other external objective signs of it, okay? So, you'll have to watch his hand, okay? So here I am, and I have the muscle tension, okay? And as I start to release, he will start to feel it. He can feel the releasing, the relaxing that's happening, okay? And if he's paying attention, he's sliding up my arm. The skin that's here is moving up my arm. And he will find it hard to even keep it in place, like it gets slippery. And the reason I suspect is that here I have a ledge for him to wedge on, okay? But once I start releasing, he gets absorbed by me, okay? And he's like, whoa, he got like maybe a half inch closer, depends how long we stay here, okay? And you can feel that, and he can feel it. And that is actually something that you use martially, is to increase the rebounding energy and to decrease his ability to get off of it, to regain his center. You want them to be absorbed by you, okay? So where we're going ultimately, this is further along than this. Okay, I will say, if you've never felt where their center is, you need that skill. Keep doing it. But as you get it, you have to start dialing it back to the actual prescription of the Kokyu set.